Welcome to Let Me Know How It Is, a pop culture podcast about TV, movies, comics, and all things geek. For its 35th anniversary, we're spotlighting Transformers the movie. I'm Zach Slater.
I'm Frank Melman.
This is Tommy Smithereens.
And I'm Clifton.
All right. So, produced on a budget of $6 million, Transformers the movie opened to cinemas this week 35 years ago, August 8th, 1986. Based on the mega popular toy line and TV show, Transformers the movie is a bold movie that not only showcased our favorite characters, but introduced a great deal of new ones to the universe. Cast to play this new group of Autobots and Decepticons were Judd Nelson, Eric Idle, Robert Stack, Leonard Nimoy, and wow, the incredible Orson Welles as Unicron. That still gets me every time. I still can't believe that. The film was directed and co-produced by Nelson Shin with a screenplay by Ron Friedman. Sadly, the film was not a huge success at the box office, only pulling in $5.8 million. But nevertheless, its performance is no indicator of its quality. So let's jump right in. And as I've said, I say this a lot, but really, I mean it. I've prepared my entire life for this episode. Transformers the movie. So let's go. Kick it off, guys.
You've got notes going back 30 years now to this movie.
I rewatched it, but I really didn't have to.
No?
I've seen it. No, I mean, I've seen this movie. It's got to be in the triple digits by now.
Oh no! Wow.
No, in my life, I can't even count how many times I've watched it. Oh, like I mean, not so much recently, but in the earlier part of my life,
yeah,
I watched it so many times.
Yeah, me too.
I had it must have been like a bootleg off of a VHS store copy, like a video store copy. So I had my own copy, and I watched over and over and over.
I didn't see it in the theater because I didn't know it was a thing then. Mm-hmm. You know, we didn't go to the theater that much when I was growing up, but I remember my brother he invited our older cousin over, so not the one I talk about all the time, but our oldest cousin was coming over and staying over at our house for one weekend, and he was like, "Oh, I got an awesome movie for you guys to watch." And he was like, "I got Transformers the movie," and it was like, you know, like from Errol's or something like that. It was a rental. In my head, I was like, oh, "What?" I'm like, "There's a movie," and like I couldn't believe it. I absolutely couldn't believe it. And then like from that day on, like, you know, certainly to this day, I probably watch it at least once a year.
Right.
But, you know, but like Clifton was saying, when I was a kid, when I was like 8 or 9, yeah, I'd watch this movie all summer.
Yep.
You know?
Wow.
Now it was like me and my best friend at the time, Justin, who lived in the little townhouse row right next to me. Like we watched it, we acted out, we did everything in this movie so many times. And I was in the theater when it opened, opening weekend. And I remember like the theater being packed. I like that's one of the things that stands out to me. So like the opening weekend, like all the kids and their parents were dragged along, but all the kids went. And then I guess it didn't do too much after that for that box office figure. But I do remember that Sunday afternoon showing that I went to see being pretty packed and all the kids being scandalized by some salty language from some of the characters. Those are my memories of it, or the theater being pretty crowded and every kid gasping at some certain dialogue, not too far into the movie.
So you're saying it was like when I went to see Mamma Mia 2.
Do you have to sit in the aisle for that one?
I had to sit front row for Mamma Mia 2. I'm not making that up. It was like an Avengers movie.
Wow.
It was packed. Anyway, Frank, tell me what's your memory with this movie? First encounter. Let's do that. We'll do that. What's our first encounter with it?
I mean, this might have been the second time that I watched it.
Stop it.
There was so much about this movie that I didn't recall. I didn't. I was not. I mean, I still, you know, had my background with Transformers and you know, love the Generation 1 stuff, but I was out of it by this point. And there was a lot of stuff. I remember like when I saw the toys on the shelves and all that kind of stuff, I was just like, you know, they've moved on. They don't want my business or my love anymore. they're clearly courting somebody else. So
this is a joke, right?
No, I'm being completely serious. I was past Transformers at this point.
I've known you 20 years. How do I know that? How did I not know this?
I don't know. But yeah, I was like, I saw it rented it long after long after it had been a thing in movies. I didn't see it in the movie theater. I didn't see it for a long time after it was out. I rented it and was like, okay.
So wait a minute. So like 4 years ago,
mm-hmm.
when we were going to go see it in the theater for like a fandom event,
right,
and it got sold out, and we ended up not being able to go, and we went to like Banchan or something instead. right,
sure.
It was going to be your second time ever seeing this movie.
Yeah. It's not like Mask of the Phantasm. We went to another like fandom or like another
Fathom events. The Fathom event.
Thank you, Fathom event. That I've seen a million times. This, no, I it's not that I didn't like it, but I definitely don't like it as much as either one of you.
Okay, well, shocker there. It's a spotlight on a movie.
Yeah. So, I watched it again and I made appropriate notes for myself, and then noted stuff that I didn't recall the second half of the movie. I didn't remember what the resolution was. I didn't remember how they got to where they got to get in the movie. Yeah, I mean, I liked parts of it, but overall, it's not my thing. It's not my Transformers, so.
All right, Tommy. Man, we got to pick a movie that you like to do these spotlights on. Good grief.
No, you don't. That's the fine. That's perfectly okay. I just, it's not something that I was super excited about watching again, because obviously I've only seen it once, so.
All right, Tommy, you're up.
Oh, well, I'm half and half between you guys as far as my enjoyment of this movie. I almost wish I didn't see it recently, because it didn't, I feel you can never go home again.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got when I watched it recently. I understand with Clifton. Back in the day, I used to love this cartoon. When it dropped, we saw it in movie theaters. It was me and my older brother and my younger brother. Father dropped us off. We went, and I remember all the moments in which everybody gasped at the one cuss word. When
two, there were two.
Yeah. Oh yeah, two. You're right. And the amount of deaths portrayed in this movie should have made it rated R based upon the fact of they were really kids. I mean, yeah, they didn't feel blood, but Jesus.
Yeah, we'll get into that once we actually get into the meat of it. But yeah.
And then now I see it. I was like, oh. Now stories are supposed to be told, so it's like Jesus. I wish I didn't
okay, but you saw it as a kid. You saw it young.
Oh yeah, I saw it in the prime of Transformers when it did the whole transition, because the movie dropped while it was still being aired. Well, new episodes were airing when this movie came out, right. So it was a big event. If you paid attention to anything first and second seasons of Transformers, when this was announced, everybody was bated breath to see how the hell they're gonna do it, and then. What weirded me out was the poster. Mm-hmm. When you see the poster, it's like, who are these guys?
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a whole nother thing. But basically, it was probably the last movie I saw with my brothers at the time it dropped.
Okay.
And I was so young that my youngest brother wasn't born at the time when I went to go see this one. But yeah.
But you're talking the movie poster with Ultra Magnus in the Shawn Michaels pose shooting up at the sky?
Yes. We didn't know who the hell those characters were when the poster dropped. So it's like, we're trying to make sense of it. It's like, is this the same movie if not for the lettering?
Yeah.
No.
That's an interesting thing to bring up, because
yeah,
I mean, like I was saying in the intro, I mean, there's a lot of new people in this movie. A lot.
That's an understatement.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So yeah, I mean, and for me, I think thinking back to when I was watching this as a kid, like, yeah, I mean, it is odd because you don't know who all these people are, but like I remember as a kid, like falling in love with Hot Rod pretty quick. Like, like I thought Hot Rod was awesome.
Yeah, mine too. He was my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the movie is interesting in that way where it's, you get to know the characters pretty quickly, and like right from the jump, you kind of know what they're all about.
Yeah, I mean, talking like when Tommy was talking about, not being able to go back home, like this is one of the instances where watching this, I mean, most of the time when I watch the stuff I liked as a kid, I'll still respect it for liking it as a kid. Like I can see the faults and stuff, and I'll be like, oh, like I still remember how I felt then, and that's what I appreciate about it. But I can be like, yeah, like I was a kid, I was into some weird silly things. But there's a few instances of things where like the response is so visceral that I can like feel exactly what I felt as a kid. And this is one of them. This is one of the, like this movie particularly is one of those ones where like watching it, I can still feel like what I felt the first time I watched it. Like it had that much of a strong imprint on me, I guess, in the theaters. And this is one of them. And yeah, like the new characters, like we can get into some of the business side. Because if you've seen, Toys That Made Us on Netflix, their Transformers episode talks about it, where it was basically like this movie was in between toy lines. And they were kind of clearing off the shelves of the previous line to bring in the next year's models.
Yep.
And yeah, like you can see that and think it's cynical, but like as a kid, like I ate it up. I was like, yay, new toys. like these characters are cool. I want a Springer. I want a Hot Rod. Like these characters are awesome. And just going to what Zach was saying, like they do a really good job of establishing the characters in this, I thought, because like they just pick like quick little things like Cup's war stories, like defines that character. And it's such like a quick shorthand to get you right on the page with this guy. And I think they do it really well throughout the movie with him, especially. Yeah, no, I think, I mean, right off the bat, it's like, okay, like Springer's the cool guy. Right. Like, yeah, Ultra Magnus is a, not the leader of the Autobots because we see Optimus Prime in the movie before we see Ultra Magnus, but we know like he's in command, right? Yeah. Like he's in a leadership position. Right. And he's got a tractor trailer, so he's got to be. He's got to be. Of course. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things that impresses me about the movie is like how they're able to do that so quickly. Like I say it about Psycho all the time, right? What's impressive to me about Psycho is like when your main character gets killed off midway point in the movie. Spoiler alert for Psycho. Too late. What? You know what I mean? And then, but like the rest of the movie is like is so interesting after like what's a moment when the audience should be like feeling like restless and like, whoa, what's going on here? Right. It's kind of the way I feel about this, where it's like there's just top to bottom like new characters. And I was fine with it. I'm fine with it now. I was fine with it as a kid. Yeah. Like I said, like I fell in love with Hot Rod super quick. Sure, but the difference between this and Psycho is that we don't have anything of with the other characters. It's not like there's a whole, a whole franchise of movies with, was it Janet Leigh? Yeah. Right. We don't have a whole, like 3 seasons of Janet Leigh and then she suddenly dies. Oops, sorry, spoiler alert. In Psycho, well, that's what we had in this. We had 3 seasons of Generation 1 Transformers. They get 2 lines into it and then they get their chest blown open.
Yes. Yeah. And you never see him again.
Yeah, you never. There's not even enough time for you to be like, oh, I just saw Ironhide eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah. He eats it bad too.
Yes.
Yeah, he eats it bad. That's a vicious one.
Yes.
Clifton, I get your feelings with it because I felt the same way, but I was like, geez, it was just like no love. I mean, it was just. It's like the as soon as the credits ended, and then let's start with the beginning.
Yes,
Autobots lost. It's just this bow, and they're on the run from the Decepticons. So that right there is like, okay, they weren't winning ever. I mean, if you watch the show, every skirmish ended with the Decepticons never truly winning. The Autobots won every battle. So to feel that they're that close to losing the entire war, that they hidden on moons that we never know Cybertron, had, it was just weird. And as soon as you get to see your favorite character and hear the iconic voices,
right?
We've seen shots fired hundreds of times in the cartoon, hundreds.
Yes.
People drop, but they never die. People drop, you get fixed up. But they were getting murked. I mean, jeez. I mean, I've never seen Starscream and Megatron with such pinpoint accuracy on them when they hit. And
For sure.
It was just so heart-wrenching to see that. I was like, oh my gosh.
There's something about the Decepticons at this point where, like, I remember, one of the times watching it with another buddy of ours, we're at this point we had both seen it hundreds of times also, but we're watching it together. And then, he just looks over at me and he's like, Decepticons are not messing around in this movie. Like, I don't know what happened, but for some reason they show up today. Like, no, okay, we're not doing this anymore. We're wasting them.
Well, the movie itself should say, the telegraphs from the beginning, like they make a point of showing scenes of children robots in the opener when Unicron destroys that first planet. Yeah. That's when the movie's not messing around, because we got child Autobots or child Decepticons ever before this. We got the Dinobots were childlike and they're or dumb and they're they didn't know any better. But it's not like we got a bunch. But this establishes this world right off the bat that there's happy families, and it's nope. And then they fall to Unicron.
Yep. Yes.
So, but no, I agree with Tommy. The fact that there's no, it is not even. We don't have time to bury our dead, much less mourn them.
Yeah. They're just stepping over. Yeah.
And that to me, it's definitely a feeling of. It's like an event that's like, hey, guess what? We've got new Transformers, new characters for you, and they're really cool. And I hope you're okay that we're going to sweep everyone else off the board practically, because this is the show going forward.
Yeah.
For better or for worse, this is who we're with. Is these characters we're showing you now?
Yeah, I mean, and I'm not cold to that at all. Like there's some of my favorites are among the casualties. One of them's off screen. But you see his body.
Right.
Right? There's that moment when RC is like dragging like Windcharger's body, over, and no, Windcharger's not one of my favorites. I don't think he's anybody's. But like she drags it, like Wheeljack is right there.
Sure.
I got my mom got me Wheeljack for Christmas.
Yeah.
One year. Like I love Wheeljack. He was always one of my favorites. And I'm like, oh geez, like that sucks.
Sure, but I mean, there's also a lot of dialogue cues too. Like you have that moment where Megatron screams, "Die, Autobots!" As well as their defenses are broken. Let the slaughter begin.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, again, it's one of those that I don't. I understand that they were going for something a little more. I understand what they're doing from a meta context. That they're resetting the shelves, but one thing that I took away from the fact that this happens is the idea that it stopped being Transformers for me. And what I mean is, like, you still have like a couple of the originals survive, the slaughter, this massacre, right? But from that point on, they don't transform into cars or helicopters or microscopes or boomboxes. They're like a space shark. or a spaceship.
No. Okay, no, I'm going to challenge you. I challenge you on that, because that's not true.
Okay,
Hot Rod's a car. Cup is a car. RC's a car. Blur's a car. Ultra Magnus is the car carrier truck. Springer's a car.
But Zach,
he's a triple changer.
But Zach, I think what he's referring to is nothing is relatable anymore. It's all like futuristic versions of vehicles.
Yes,
or grand designs. Like there's no Porsche.
No, it's almost like with this movie. It's almost like Peter Cullen, Frank Welker. Their contracts are up. Casey Kasem, Scatman Crothers, get them out the door. But on top of that, we don't have the Porsche license anymore. We can't make a Jeep anymore. We can't make a Volkswagen, or we get Bumblebee. So we can make a Volkswagen Bug still. But everything else that we made before, it's done. We don't have the license to make them anymore. So then we've got to make futuristic stuff.
Yeah, I never thought about that.
And they're no longer robots in disguise, because if you're transforming into a ship that's not of Earth,
you know who they are. Yeah,
you know what they are.
Yeah, but okay, but that's one of the things that gets me about the movie.
Okay.
Is so, Tommy, like you were saying, like right from the get go, it starts off with like it's 2005, which when that came out, like that's the future for them. So I think. That's kind of a bold thing, which, it's 86 and we're doing time jump, which now everybody's doing now.
Sure.
Right. And so that's one of like the first original instances I can recall of that in my like pop culture viewing of like, oh, here's this thing that I watched. Like you said, like I watched 2 seasons of Transformers. I see the movie and then it's like, oh, we're in the future now. Right. And yes, the Autobots lost Cybertron, but they didn't lose Earth. That's how I read that. Like the Autobots have a city on Earth.
But there's no allies.
That's a defense.
There's no allies from Earth except for the Witwickies.
But
still.
no, but
Jeez.
They don't.
That's my reading between the lines. There is the idea that they lost Cybertron because they had so many people on Earth, and while they had their eyes not on Cybertron, it fell.
Okay. But I'm saying my reading of that is there's nobody else that wants to help the Autobots besides the Witwickies. There's only Spike and Daniel. There's nobody else that can help them.
That I won't get into. But to me, I've seen them introduce new characters, just not so vicious in the transition. Like when we got Cosmos or Power Glide or any one of those Transformers that we've never seen before. They were introduced in such a way that didn't make you feel like they had to wipe the slate clean of the old ones and bring in the new stock. That's the one that didn't need to be so, ham-fisted in to make it seem like these are new Transformers. It's it was just that feeling. It's like, gosh, that was what 8.
No, I can't disagree with you because I had that feeling.
Yeah, that's
too. I think, but I think also that's one of the things that makes the movie memorable.
I disagree.
What's one of the things? I'm sorry, I'm confused. What makes one of the things of the movie memorable?
I mean, the fact that we have heroes that die is one of the things I think that makes it so memorable.
It doesn't, because I mean, granted, we're talking about it, but I also think it's there's a reason why they got a lot of notes from parents and kids about this is jarring.
Well, for me, what made it memorable wasn't the deaths, even though they were hella jarring. It was the music. The music that came out of that movie, I still play. I can recite the most profound music out of there, and then that's what to me made it okay. Does that make sense? Yeah, you put I don't care what kind of story it is. You put great music to it, I'll watch whatever. And unfortunately, to this day, I enjoyed the music. That's what made it memorable for me. I hated the deaths. I know that's weird coming out of me.
It is weird coming out of your mouth. That's very weird.
And then, there's another thing with the deaths that didn't make sense, and I'm mad that I noticed it now because, like Clifton, I watched it so many times, but now with old eyes, the deaths only stopped with the old guard.
Yes.
Some
Cup and Ultra Magnus. They should have been wiped clean too.
Well, no. So it is interesting to me that a lot of the 84 line got wiped out.
Yes.
But you do have some survivors.
Yes.
That come out of it. And I think it's interesting because my guess is that I think that there were probably characters that the writers themselves liked because Soundwave makes it out.
Yes.
Right? Because the voice is awesome. You can't get rid of Soundwave. The Dinobots make it out. The Constructicons make it out.
Yes.
Jazz.
Yep. But again, those are all later characters for the most part.
No way.
Not Jazz. I'm saying the Dinobots are still fairly new at that point. The Constructicons are still fairly new at that point.
First season.
Okay. I'm just saying on toy shelves. Were they still selling them or not? That's all I'm asking. As we were talking about, they weren't the first wave of toys is what I'm trying to say.
That I'm not so sure about. I don't know. The history of them as waves, I don't know.
Okay.
I know that Constructicons and Dinobots are first season of the show.
Okay.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I know Perceptor is season 2, which I tripped over late because I always thought he was introduced in the movie with the new guard, but he's actually
he came before.
He came before. He's in the show before.
Yeah.
Right.
Bumblebee makes it out, like you were saying. So there are like some people that I think that are interesting, exceptions to the rule. And strangely to me, Starscream's not one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there's stuff again. There's stuff with the deaths that I'm like, I think some deaths, obviously, again, if you haven't seen this, go watch it. But with Prime's death, obviously that's a death that you should linger on, and that's important. But Starscream's death happens way too fast. I think it's one of those things where, as beloved a character as he was, I don't think that it should have been so simple as, I'm just going to blast you and turn you to ash.
Yeah.
No, but then Galvatron steps on the crown and like smears it on the ground. It's a good bit.
Yeah.
That part's fine. I'm just saying the part before it that it's just like, I'm going to roll into town and take care of Starscream. I'm like, I guess.
Turns him into ash.
Yeah. 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 That and like that and like in the early first part of it, I definitely wanted more of a Devastator Dinobots fight. I thought that was done really quick.
That was done really quick. Yeah.
Slag takes him down though.
Yeah.
nice bit with Slag because he's messing the Dinobots up, but then Slag takes him off his feet.
Mm-hmm.
Slag with the takedown points. I like it.
I was hoping we got Metroplex. I really was hoping we were getting Metroplex. Like when I can remember the scene when, oh my gosh, Autobot, just going nuts for the Autobot City and seeing it transform in front of everybody. And I was like, oh, we're going to get something huge.
I had that moment too, honestly, Tommy, when I first watched it too. When they said Autobot City, I was like, Metroplex?
Yeah.
It was like, no, it's not him. Like, it's a different city.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do think also it's one of those things, but like, so on one of the DVD special features, so they don't interview the screenwriter, but they interview Flint Dilley, who was like a staff writer on the show, and he was script consultant for this. And they ask him like point blank, like what were your thoughts when you were, killing off so many of the players, especially Optimus.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and his reaction was, he was like, honest to God, like we didn't know, right? Like we didn't think it was going to be a big deal because as far as we were concerned, like you were saying, the 84 slate was being discontinued. We had the new slate of toys coming out. We figured that they were all the kids were just going to like fall in love with that stuff. And they didn't know like how hard Prime's death would hit.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like the toys weren't still selling. That's why they did it.
Yeah.
Okay. But still, I don't think, even though Rodimus Prime was introduced then, I still hated him. It was not even with the movie and his glorious introduction to the Transformers. In my head, I was like, you didn't earn it. You didn't got a cool voice. I like Judd Nelson. I didn't care for Rodimus Prime, which is a weird contradiction, but yeah.
I mean, Hot Rod certainly looked better without the trailer.
That's for sure.
That's what I always thought.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
As a design,
it didn't make sense with the trailer. I didn't like the trailer design. I agree with you. I did not like the trailer design at all. But no, Springer was the cool one as far as I looked.
Also odd that they never had a toy for RC. That it was like, as a kid, that was always like I always wanted that toy and it never existed. It was strange.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, there have been RC toys more recently in all the different toy lines and collectible stuff. But yeah, back then there was not.
I want to get into the acting a little bit in this movie because I'm still really impressed by it every time I watch it. And this is a weird thing, but watching as much animation as we do, this movie does yelling really well, and that's a weird thing to say, but I'll try and explain it. Right, like you can watch a perfect example of this is Dark Knight Returns Part 2, right, which I love. Right, so check it out. But there's a moment at the end where Batman is yelling to the crowd of mutants that's now like sons of the Batman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like the voice doesn't sound like he's yelling, right? Because there's an audio issue with this. Where like I can't yell into the mic because it's going to get me feedback, right? And so I think it's an engineering issue that makes it tricky. But this movie, like I like that there's like highs and lows to voices in here where like people are whispering, people are yelling, and it sounds convincing. It sounds really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
No, it does. I just never noticed that. I mean, that's something that you notice time and time again of how sound editing goes and how it's portrayed and how voice actors are do a better job than most. So that's something that's consistent with what you pay attention to. So it's not something that I per se pay attention to, but I can see why you would feel that way based upon who voiced what and the performances that they gave.
Some of the choices are weird for some of the characters, I thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Like who?
Like I thought, like with Wreck-Gar with Eric Idle, I thought that was a kind of an odd choice.
That was.
No, as a kid, loved it.
I love it though. Yeah.
But looking back at it, I was surprised that they got. I mean, it's weird because I didn't know who he was at the time of seeing this.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it seems like to me, it seems like a precursor to. I mean, I kept watching it now. It made me think of Robin Williams and Aladdin.
Right.
Because it's pretty much the same sort of character.
Right.
Where it's just like fast paced, a lot of pop culture or TV references.
Mm.
But I just thought with Eric Idle, it was like it's not really what he's known for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. I have two stories. One is I just saw a tweet the other day where somebody was tweeting about like scam texts that they get.
Mm-hmm.
And one of them that they put up was an example of a scam text that looks like it's Russian. And then they asked somebody what it says, and they were like, it's just gibberish. Like, it's not even Russian. Mm-hmm. And the funny bit, though, is that Eric Idle reposted this and said, I think that was my monologue in Transformers the movie. There's that funny bit. And the other thing is, like, when I was in college, my roommate was a guy named Bram. We were good friends, and he had a friend who I had not met yet named Faith. And the first time I ever met her, she was at our apartment, and like we were watching something. We're on the couch watching something late at night, and like we're barely talking because we just met. Like it's literally our first ever interaction. And whatever we're watching is like late night TV. It might have had like an infomercial spot between shows. She does one of the Eric Idle, one of the Wreck-Gar quotes from Transformers the movie. And I think it was the like destroy Unicron, kill the Grand Poobah, eliminate even the toughest stains, like out of the blue. And then she just looks at me to see if I either get it or think she's a crazy person. And I don't say a word. I just point to my copy of Transformers the movie on our TV rack under the TV. And from that moment on, we were fast friends. So that's my Eric Idle. That's my Eric Idle stories.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know who any of these people were when I first watched it. I mean, I knew who Spock was,
right?
But I didn't know he was played by a guy named Leonard Nimoy, and that person was voicing Galvatron in this. Because, like, I mean, I was, how old was I? I was 6. I didn't read the credits, like like
you hadn't seen Citizen Kane yet,
right? Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of it feels a little stunt casted in a way. Because I mean, the idea that, like you said, getting Orson Welles is I always like, oh yeah, it's Orson Welles, and it's his last movie.
Yeah,
he's Unicron. But I mean, it's one of those things where I don't really. I guess they said that he was so frail by the end of it that they had to adjust or synthesize his voice anyway. So it's kind of not really like he was able to do the voice. I read that in getting ready for that.
Yeah, so. He's the story that Flint Dilley says of the special features is he comes in, and at this point he's in like poor health. He's in very poor health, and he said he was about like 450 pounds at this point when he came in, and he came in like in a wheelchair, but was able to sort of like get up and like move to the mic and stuff like that. So he was able to like do the line standing, it sounds like. And such, but they were saying that like he wasn't in the best health, and like he was like kind of like labored breathing sometimes, like in the takes and stuff like that. And so they were playing with synthesizing his voice and running it through things to sort of like basically just get like usable takes out of it.
Right.
But the interesting thing is that they were saying is he was like kind of like fascinated and giddy about the idea, like, I'm playing a planet. This is kind of cool.
Right. Yeah, I read that. I read that too. Yeah, that he was kind of excited about. Oh yeah, I'm playing. I'm going to be, and this thing comes along, takes care. They take care of me, and I'm dispatched or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one that I thought that I recognized, but I couldn't remember the actor's name was the guy that played Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Was Max from Heart to Heart? Lionel something.
Yeah, Lionel Strander. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was the one that I did not recall at all because I watched a bunch of Heart to Heart, and he does the opening bit. He explains the show in the theme of what it's all about. So he's got a recognizable voice, and I'm more surprised that he's got so many of the lines that he has they're not actual, like there's stuff that's made up for the show, like they're like the stuff like when he's relating all his war stories about being on other planets, and then a lot of like semi-technical terms that are made up for the show, and he seems to be handling it fine. I just wondered how they got, like, I'd like to know the story about how in the world they got him for this.
Right.
You know, it's not like
I have a suggestion for IDW right now. If you're listening, anybody. You're not. But if you are, you need to do a title called Cups War Stories right now. Right now. And just have it be an anthology of just crazy, weird stories of him fighting, like, what does he say in the movie? Petro rabbits?
Right.
And stuff like that. Yeah, just a title like that. People will eat it up.
I see that being a Reddit subreddit.
But yeah. Again, that's the one that I was really like, that's really a bizarre pull. You know? The other, like, that was not like Robert Stack's much, you know, Unsolved Mysteries. Robert Stack. I mean, granted, he's been in, you know, Airplane and a bunch of other stuff, but the fact that he's doing this again, I would like to know. I'd love to know the story of how they got him as well.
Ultra Magnus. Yes.
I'm an Ultra. What? No,
he said this was his first voiceover.
Okay.
Yeah,
I could see that.
And then this is the same when they lost Casey Kasem because he was Cliff Jumper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they said this is also Scatman Crothers' last film too.
Yeah, this is his last film, Scatman Crothers. You're correct.
Yeah, that's Jazz. So.
Jazz sticks around in the show a little bit, so I'm wondering if he was recorded beforehand or if they recast it. That I don't remember, but I know Jazz pops up season 3.
Yeah, but he doesn't really talk. He just like stands in the background a lot.
And this was Judd Nelson at his height.
Yeah.
This is like Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire.
Yeah,
that era.
This is a get for them, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's funny because the audience, no one in the audience would have known who the hell he was. You know, that's the crazier part. At least the audience wouldn't appeal. I mean, you know, ain't none of us in the audience watching the Breakfast Club. Yeah.
Right.
It wasn't until years later I realized who most of these people were. Years and years later. Orson Welles especially. Machida I knew, the voice of Blur, of course, because he did the Micro Machines commercials.
Yep.
Yes.
I don't remember if those commercials were running yet, but I knew him around that time from other fast-talking commercial spots he did. And then he was in Saved by the Bell later.
Yep.
Terrible Testaverde, right?
Yep. Terrible Testaverde. Awesome episode. What I like about the movie too is like the animation style in there. What gets me about it is a couple of things. One is the animation is so good that like it convinces me that like that there's weight. You know what I mean? Like again, small little thing, but like when Springer and RC are transforming Autobot City and they're pulling like the control units like out of the console and RC's like it looks like she's pulling with all of her weight. And and that is a hard thing to do with a series of drawings. It's super, super hard to do. And I like, you know, and like when I remember when right before Ultra Magnus eats it, like Cyclonus and Galvatron transform, and when they land, like their knees buckle. I'm like, this look like it's so good. And just the detail of like that sort of stuff, which also like brings me to the second point is like the detail of little things, like literally like gears turning. Is like blows my mind.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of that before that.
Like that sequence of Unicron transforming, I'm like, oh my god. You know, like some poor guy had to storyboard that.
Right.
Like,
yeah, just the shot when it pulls out and you see like little Galvatron on his abs.
Yep.
Like that. I do always remember that shot.
Yep. I remember that shot of Galvatron's face. Like when it's starting and it's like, it's the most look of terror that anybody's had in the whole movie.
Right.
Yeah. I love that bit. I think like that's where the movie excels to me is like these little situations and like, you know, like there's weight and there's stakes to the like when Unicron attacks Moonbase 1 and then like that sequence is so fast where like Jazz and Clipjumper get sucked into the thing and then it starts making its move towards Spike and Bumblebee on the second base and they're talking to all the Transformers at home and they're all like freaking out. Like it's still effective to me. I still like, you know, when Daniel's like, what happened to my dad and stuff.
Sure.
Like,
I mean, there's some definite moments that they try to definitely convey the fear of Unicron. I like the scene early on where the moment of like when they're trying to take when the Decepticons first attack and they form a Devastator, and the Autobots start to panic because they're like, "What are we going to do against Devastator?"
Yep.
Which I thought was like, as you should.
Yeah.
This giant robot's about to happen. Right in front of you. I like that bit. I thought that bit was nice. But yeah, there's a lot of good. That's why. But that's the reason why you get the curse word. Is what he's like. What are we going to do now?
Yep.
And every kid in the theater gasped.
Mm-hmm.
One of those curse words was removed from the VHS.
Okay.
That one. It was that one.
It was that one. I never saw that one until it was released on DVD, and I watched it, and I was like, "Whoa!" Right. I'm like, and by that point, it's one of those things where you've seen it so many times, like any little change you notice.
Right. So it was only in the U.S. releases. If you get a Canada VHS, it was on the Canadian version, which I had.
Okay.
Yeah, the version I watched today had it. So
yeah, that's from the more recent DVD. I think they started putting it in the DVDs in the 25th or 20th anniversary DVD they put out, I think. And then ever since then, it's been there. That DVD had like a chapter mark for it, so you could go right to it.
Well, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, it's a natural reaction to what's going on,
right?
Like, how are you gonna? My only thing about like the whole plot is the idea that no one has any idea of what he is. When I say he, I mean Unicron. Like, there's no one has a reference point for him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, granted, they're still in the midst of their war, and the Autobots are reeling from what's happened with Optimus, but there's no, like, it's just sort of like he is, and he's a Transformer, but nobody knows anything about him.
Right. So, like, quick summary again, though, is that the movie comes in when Autobots and Decepticons have been at war forever. It looks like Decepticons are just about to win, and Autobots hold them off temporarily, and then this giant other calamity just shows up. So it's like two big conflicts right on top.
Yeah.
It's not as if he's like a ball of energy. Like, he's a giant one of them.
Yeah.
And nobody stops to say, hey, wait a minute. How do we not know what this thing is?
Mm-hmm.
There's no point of reference. And then the other thing is just the fact that I think the Matrix itself is both a MacGuffin as well as a Deus Machina for the whole plot.
It's a huge MacGuffin.
That was my other thing in watching it again. I was like, oh, well, we've got this. I guess we have to use this because what else have we got?
One of those things, too, that I'm surprised it doesn't spring up more. Also at the same time. Like when the Michael Bay movie came around and they were using the Allspark, which to my knowledge, I mean, I don't know, maybe the Allspark appeared in some of the, 80s Marvel comics or something like that or anything like, but I'm a pretty big Transformers fan, and I didn't know what the Allspark was when that movie came out. And it was one of those things that surprised me, like, why didn't they just use the Matrix?
Right.
I'm like, I feel like everybody knows what that is.
Right.
I thought there was a huge pull from Beast Wars, in which Spark was established as their soul.
Right.
So I just took it from that, which was
right.
I was like, sure.
All those shots of Galvatron driving Cyclonus when it's all red remind me of Batman Beyond. He's driving the Batmobile. That was another funny thing. I was like, I wonder if they were like actually referencing it, or if it was just, I don't know. I really don't know. I'm just kind of wondering out loud about that. But it's a neat design. It's a cool look. How great is that scene when Starscream throws Megatron out of Astro Train?
It's a good one.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of those bits where there's just like scene after scene, like memorable scene just kind of like piled on top of each other at that moment. We're jumping around here and everything, so I apologize for that. But like it's the crescendo to like 2 seasons of him every episode being like, I should be ruling the Decepticons.
Right.
And I like that it's the first instance of like, oh, okay, he's weak. I can get rid of him now.
Well, it's even better to set it before that when he says, how do you feel, Mighty Megatron? And then kicks him.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you got the weakened, Frank Welker voice saying, don't leave me, Soundwave. And he picks him up. What I love about that scene is the fact that Soundwave picks him up and then Rumble picks up his scope.
Gun. Yep. Yeah.
And carries it back to the Astro Train so they can get out of there.
Well, if we're talking favorite scenes, I love it when Prime rolls up and it's a Blitzkrieg? You see his or is it Thrust? You see his face on Prime's grill.
It's thrust.
Yeah, always run the hell over.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the flip is nice. The flip with, as he's blast again, suddenly he's deadly accurate too.
Right.
And he's blasting away at all the Decepticons. Yep.
That's a nice hero shot, though.
Yeah.
Prime's not messing around there either.
No.
He had Sunstreaker and Hound behind him when he's saying he's got to be stopped. Nobody came to help him.
Yeah, he leaves them all behind and takes care of every last one of them.
Mm-hmm.
No, I love that fight, though. The fight is like when Megatron like kicks him in the face from off of his back. Like, I worked that into every pretend fight I ever had with my friends.
Yeah.
I just thought that was the coolest angle. Like, I still think that fight's awesome. He gets like the club thrown into his side.
Oh, like that's like the spear.
Yeah.
The spear. Yeah. Damn.
And he's like sparking and like all this stuff is shooting at him. They're like the lighting effects in this, like we talked about with Pride of the X-Men. It's like the same. I mean, they're all over the place in this movie. It looks amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely stepped up their animation budget from the show for the movie. They knew they were going to theaters.
Yeah.
Because that, like, all the animation effects are top notch for the time and still hold up.
But yeah, I love that bit where they get onto the train and then Starscream throws them off, and then they have like the little fight over who's gonna lead them. Right. Because also, like, one of my favorite bits in there is that like they form Devastator, and who takes him out? It's Rumble. It's Rumble and Fred. I love that they just like they're able to like take down Devastator. I just like me just being a huge Rumble fan. Anyway,
right.
I mean, it's funny. It's the mini one that takes down the biggest.
Yeah,
it's weirder that they think they can form Devastator inside Astro Train.
Right.
Well,
that's some of the temporal anomaly stuff, time space stuff they play with.
Well, that's the other thing is Rumble is just like pounding away at the floor, the innards of Astro Train as well.
Yeah. That's what I always think that when Astro Train just like flying around and it's jerky and he's like that can't be comfortable.
No,
all of those like Ravage like jumping on top of whoever he jumped onto.
Like, that's my spleen. Yeah.
But that scene with Megatron and Unicron at like right after that though is like I think one of the best scenes in the movie. I love Megatron cracked, broken, at the end of his rope, right? Which that shot of him like getting sucked over where like he's like just kind of like helpless and bent over. He's like, you know what I mean? I just think that's such an awesome shot to show you how he's so decrepit at this point and so just like non-functioning. And on top of all of that, in that state, he's still like nobody controls me.
Right.
I love that. The ego on him still comes out even when he has no hope of defending himself.
Right. The dance number's kind of weird.
Extremely.
The dance number on the planet of junk?
Yeah, the Dare to Be Stupid Weird Al Yankovic, which is fine, but the dancing around and like swinging each other around bit is kind of odd.
Well, it's their culture.
Okay.
Okay, but okay, sure. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue it, but yet, however.
Okay.
This song's so good, I'll just take more of it no matter how they give it to me.
It is a good song.
The music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a funny one. So that's a Weird Al song that's not a parody, Dare to Be Stupid.
Right.
And there's a VH1 behind the music bit on it. You can find this video clip online. I saw it on YouTube. It's him explaining that not all of his songs were direct parodies, that some of his songs were style parodies. So he would just pick a style that he wanted to kind of like do something in the spirit of. And that was his style parody of Devo.
Yeah.
And in the behind the music thing, he talks about it and said that he played it for Mark Mothersbaugh, who he knew, who was the front man for Devo. And in the behind the music, like Weird Al says that he thinks Mark Mothersbaugh enjoyed it. Like he seemed to like it, and seemed to like the synthesizer sound that Weird Al had put together. And what's funny is the clip immediately cuts to an interview with Mark Mothersbaugh.
Right.
It's like staring off with this like 1,000-yard stare and just says, "It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever heard." and then like says a few other things about it, and then it cuts back to Weird Al being like, I think he liked it. Like, he seemed to like it. And then it cuts back to Mark Mothersbaugh being like the sound he created, like what he transformed that song into, I hate him for it.
That's funny.
That's a good episode, the Weird Al behind the music.
Yeah.
I like that one. Yeah.
And a good song. So.
It is. No, it's a great song. No, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm with you. Like it is odd when like, you know, their people are going to die, right? All the Autobots are going to be eradicated and they're dancing around, but
yeah,
right. Like that's the last before the final battle.
But
that's what happens.
They had just made a truce with this, you know, with the Junkion, you know, Transformers that you know were attacking them 2 minutes before, and they've made a truce, and like it honestly, like it reads to me like, you remember when the Vulcans show up at the end of First Contact, and then James Cromwell is like, I'm gonna show, like he's gonna start showing the Vulcans like their way. Like that's what I take that as. It's like it's like Junkion's like, well, when you're not here, we're watching TV and we're dancing around and doing this stuff.
It's their reciprocating to the universal greeting and the Energon goodie.
Honest to God, that's always how I've read that scene.
Okay, I mean, to me, it was more like when they're dancing with the Ewoks at the end of Jedi.
Sure. Okay.
That's how I was like, okay. I mean, that, you know, I mean, we still got about 20 minutes of movie left when they're dancing with them on the Junkions or whatever. You know, it's cool.
And then they put Ultra Magnus together.
Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense to me either. So
I wish he stayed dead.
Oh yeah, dead. That's one of the things that as I got older, I was always like how.
Yeah, there's no explanation. It's like,
how is he still alive when he's blown apart?
Right. Well, I mean, I read today that there was a bit. There was a storyboarded part where they quartered him. They drew and quartered him, and they were like, "Whoa, that's a bit too much." Mm-hmm. So they just blasted him apart instead. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it makes no sense that he's not as dead as anybody else in the movie. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, that was one where I was like, "No, he's dead." Again, if anyone else, if it's that simple, he's got to put him back together. Then why don't we put any of the other ones back together?
He didn't turn black though, like Prime and Starscream did.
No, I get that. I understand that he didn't, but that does.
His robot soul had not left his body yet.
Yeah, okay, sure, sure it hadn't. He was looking down from or up from whatever afterlife there is for Autobots and Decepticons.
Maybe the Matrix protected him somehow, protected his soul.
He sure was cussing like he was about to die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the other thing is we don't ever get clear cut what the Matrix does. Mm. So
not even remotely.
It could have saved him. It could have not preserved him. I don't know.
I don't understand Unicron's omniscience. Like he knew exactly where that damn Matrix was, regardless of where it was. So nope, it's still alive. Need to take it out. Go here. Nope. He didn't do it.
Yeah, like he could feel like he's got the force somehow. Like he could feel the effect. Like
he had sight beyond sight.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
For the time he had sight beyond sight.
But he's got that weird brain that he sees Prime dying.
Yes.
And the Matrix getting past the Ultra Magnus, and it's like, and like he's not in the room that we know of, and it's not like Laserbeak's in the room spying, like in the opening of the movie. Like, yeah, he somehow knows it all.
Yeah, Autobots need way better security.
But then the other thing is they don't explain to you why does he? It's not like, hey, I'm starving and I can't move now. I'm in the Odin sleep, or I've eaten a planet and I have to rest and let it digest, or I'm too hungry and I can't move. It's not explained why he needs an intermediary at all. Mm-hmm. That's another thing that I'm like, well, why wouldn't you just go get it? It would take you about 2 seconds to like grab whoever and either tear them apart or throw them in your maw and eat them. There's none of that. There's no explanation for that either.
Well, eating them's not going to do anything because they could just open it in his stomach, like it happened.
I watched robots turn to slag also in his stomach. This happened to be what D'Angelo's happened to get there in time because the river forked that way, so therefore he was able to save them.
That scene horrified me when I was a kid.
It should.
You just see him like melting and dissolving.
Yeah, and they're just screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that should be terrifying. Yeah, I just wanted some kind of explanation about the Matrix, and I don't know, maybe they get into it in like further seasons of the show because they realize, oh, we have to explain what this thing does.
Right.
But in the movie itself, it was kind of like, well, we had to destroy a Unicron. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then we destroyed Unicron because we said we needed to destroy him.
Right.
I just saw it as the made up thing that had to destroy the made up thing. That's all I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was, to me, it's circuitous. I mean, I didn't know anything about Unicron. I didn't know about that thing to kill Unicron. So I was all right. They're both off the map now. What's left?
Well, no, I mean, I figured that was the going. They didn't establish, other than the weird subplot about the justices or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't really set anything else up. So
the Quintessons.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the Sharkticons and all that stuff. They didn't really. There's nowhere else to go. I mean, of course they destroy Unicron, but I still don't know what other than he was a giant transformer that ate planets. I don't know anything about Unicron.
Yeah, I just wish old man Tommy didn't see it and young Tommy was just seeing it, because old man Tommy just looked at everything. Just peel the layers and see, why does this work? Why does this work?
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was happy with the song, with my undeveloped brain processing it, just hoping that they win in the end, despite having been massacred for the first 15 minutes of it. But no, I agree. I agree with Clifton that at the end of the day, it was very. It was probably one of the most emotional cartoons that I didn't think I was going to see in that way from a show that I loved at the time that it was airing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. It was a big event. It was penultimate chapter in the Transformers history that still resonates now. Hell, as far as everything goes, as far as what had happened and how people are affected by it.
Yeah, I feel like we didn't do the music justice enough yet. So,
well, you've got the touch.
Of course,
I love Dare.
I love Dare too. Yeah.
There was a rallying cry. You kidding me?
I listen to that stuff anytime I need like a confidence boost for something.
Yeah, a hard run.
Hard run.
Yeah.
Good workout, presentation at work, something I got to psych myself up. Yeah, it's you've got the touch and Dare.
And Dare. I dare you to play that. Yeah, I promise. You play that song when you're feeling low, you think you can't accomplish nothing.
Yeah.
You play Dare until your attitude changes.
That song was in my head for my whole childhood, for everything I did. Climbing trees, everything.
Now, the overall score is done by Vince DiCola, so it's very 80s synth rock.
Yeah.
It is a very good score throughout. And then the songs, like you mentioned, the Touch and Dare are both done by Stan Bush.
Mm-hmm.
So those are kind of the standouts from the soundtrack. The opening Transformers theme, which is the more rocked out version of a Transformers song, is by Lion. And then Instruments of Destruction, which is the soundtrack that accompanies Ironhide's slaughter.
Yep.
In the attack on the shuttle early in the film, is by NRG.
That guy's a heck of a screamer. At the end of that song, my God, that guy. I don't mean Ironhide. I mean the singer of Instruments of Destruction.
Yeah, both work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately.
And then Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way is what plays when Cup and Hot Rod escape the Sharkticons.
Mm-hmm.
And that is by Kick-Axe.
Of course. Jeez. Of course.
Dare to Be Stupid, of course, by Weird Al.
Mm-hmm.
And Kick-Axe also had a song called Hunger on the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Where was Hunger played?
It was also on the Sharkticon planet.
Hunger is when they're actually fighting the Sharkticons after the Quintessons drop them in the water. The other one, Nothing's Gonna Stand in Our Way, is when Hot Rod's fighting the robot squid. When Cup gets ripped apart.
When they first get to the planet.
Yeah, when Cup should have died. Yes,
I was thinking those backwards. Yeah, those are both on the planet.
No, Cup just had his arm and leg ripped off.
He was just dismembered, but it's all right.
It's okay. We can just fix him up.
we haven't sold enough of his toy yet, so we're not going to get rid of him.
No, not at all. That was the most. I hated his design. I just hated Cup's design.
I love
the character. Hated the design. It was a futuristic but beat up pickup truck. I couldn't understand.
He's a futuristic El Camino.
Yeah, he's an El Camino or something.
He's a space El Camino.
I hated his design.
I always liked Wheelie's design. I'm going to say it. I don't care. I don't care what people think. I just thought Wheelie was a cool car.
Yeah.
I want to know how we got there. I want to know how we got there with an Autobot symbol. I think that's
not important.
I think that. I just think. Look, hey, the writer in me is finding is. I'm like, you could play with that. How does he get to Quintessa?
Well, to me, the whole thing it's just like with ghost robots, kid robots.
Mm-hmm.
I don't.
Yes,
that's just as dark. I don't know. And I was hoping he would eat a human planet, except just finding robot planets. Unicron.
Mm-hmm.
You find all the robot planets,
and
there were so many.
Yeah, it definitely makes the world bigger. That's for sure.
Indeed.
And then Prime comes back in a couple episodes in season 3.
Yep. And Starscream later.
Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Starscream in a cool story too, I think, because he comes back as like a ghost.
Right.
Yeah. Which is neat.
He's like haunting Unicron's head, like the still orbiting Cybertron.
Yeah. That's a neat idea. God, that's a cool idea.
I vaguely remember those. I did not see them as much as I watched the film itself.
That's interesting. Why didn't you watch any more of it?
I watched it, just not as much.
I watched it. It was a weird zombie take on it.
I watched it through the Headmasters. I watched it through all that stuff. All the later generations.
I thought the season 3 theme song was my favorite.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I love the season 3 theme song.
Huh. Okay.
No, you disagree?
I just felt it was just, I don't know. I don't know.
I like the choir or whatever saying like "ha" in the back over and over and over again.
Yeah. Ha. Yeah. No. It's that first season so iconic. Those first 5 episodes, when you get that intro and hear it for the first time, it was just magical, for lack of a better term. Because I feel like it was just to play off the ending. Because if you listen to the ending, the end credits song, it was just a version that was just high in it, same tempo, just hot. Yeah. Oh no, was it? Or was it just the slowed up?
The lyrics are the same, and but it's like it's sped up for sure. It's up tempo.
Yeah. I don't know. It just felt too fast. Like they're trying to rush through the credits so they can get to the show. Can you see? Watch, quick. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, I like that intro a lot. And then like I like how like all the all the images like dissolved into the other ones where like it was like Wheelie's wheel then dissolved into like the cannon of Galvatron's gun barrel and stuff. Like I just liked all the transitions of it. I thought it was neat.
Okay.
All right. So to close out, since we spent a lot of time talking about all the Transformers that didn't make it out, we're gonna list any Transformer that we wish made it out, like survived, or any Transformer that we wish bought it in this movie that we didn't see. But first, if you like the show, you can check out all of our episodes on YouTube at letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please, however you find us, don't forget to like, subscribe, or leave us a review. Finally, if you have any ideas for a topic on the show, send them our way on Twitter or in the comments. Our Twitter handle is our show's initials, LMKHII. All right, so we're gonna go around. So a Transformer you would save, or one that you would want to kill in the movie?
I have one request.
Okay.
Other than Starscream, I wanted at least one Decepticon to die.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that died.
It is an interesting choice to me, always thinking about it, that Prime dies and Megatron gets to survive in some capacity.
Right.
But no Decepticon died other than Starscream.
Mm-hmm.
And they even brought him back. Everyone else that appeared to be dead or half dead in Astral Chain got transformed.
Mm-hmm.
Not one Decepticon was harmed in the making of this movie.
Right. Except the Insecticons, but yeah, they get transformed, and they always had that weird thing where like they could copy themselves. Anyway, but Kickback eats it. Kickback gets his head run over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they all get turned into the sweeps.
They do. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, isn't there like an image in like the first season when there's like a horde of them?
Yeah,
but it's just the 3 of them. It's like the 3 of them all like replicating themselves.
I guess.
Am I making that up? Tell us in the comments. I'm pretty sure I've seen that. Anyway, okay. So, but who's your choice, Tommy?
Oh, any Decepticon.
Any Decepticon to die. Anybody.
Any. None of them died.
You know, who's your least favorite? Who's your least favorite Decepticon?
You don't have any like Reflector? Anyway.
Wow.
Nothing.
My least favorite Decepticon from the group? I don't know, Cyclonus. It was just extra. You didn't need him in his court. It was just weird. Cyclonus, Scourge. I'm like, damn, how many people got it? Yeah, how many right-hand mans did he have as opposed to having none, you know?
Scourge is a scary design, though. He's creepy.
It is, but
he's terrifying.
Like, yeah, even with the goatee and stuff, it's just weird.
Yeah. All right, Frank, who's yours?
What's the name of the microscope?
Perceptor?
Yeah, Perceptor should have died.
He's garbage. He's useless.
Which one is Itchy?
Yeah, he's a mouse.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's that opening bit where he's with Blaster and Blaster's trying to send him a message. And oddly enough, I like obviously I love all the tapes. The tapes are some of my favorite Transformers. I love Soundwave. Soundwave's one of my favorite too. But just the fact that they all have to go up there trying to tear off the satellite dish and they can't make the transmission it made me laugh. Like I just like, okay, I guess. You know, a well-placed shot would have taken care of that.
Rumble and Frenzy are able to take off the satellite dish, but then they have to crack the nuts inside.
Sure, I know. I get that part. I'm just saying, again, a well-placed shot would take care of that. They could have easily taken care of it. But there's a part where Perceptor is like, oh, no, save yourself. And Blaster's like, oh, no, I'm going to save you. Blaster should have been like, peace out, I'm gone. It's important that I stay alive. So I'm going to go. No, that was the one I was like, no, he shouldn't have made it. After all the other the Gen 1 ones that I liked better survived, he should have been. He should have taken a blast to the chest.
Blaster does make it out though.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's in the season 3 opener.
I'm good with that.
He's based on the Transformers creator in Japan. If you watch the Netflix Toys That Made Us, they talk to the creator in Japan who designed a lot of them at Takara. And Perceptor's the one he says is him. So you're going straight for the creator of Transformers, Frank.
Oh, wow. I never knew that. That's cool.
That means he should have died. Hell.
Clifton, who's yours?
So I say if they really wanted to break kids' hearts, they should have killed Bumblebee.
Yeah.
Because, Optimus Prime, when I was a kid, Optimus Prime's cool, but he's like the dad. Bumblebee's the one that at least the kids I knew loved. So I'm like, if they really wanted to heartbreak kids, they could have just killed Bumblebee and kept them dead. Oh,
you know what though? Now that you brought up Bumblebee, there is one thing in the movie I love that he does. When they self-destruct Moonbase 2, I love that Bumblebee has to wire it. Right? Because it's like, how many times have we seen something self-destruct where like you're walking around a facility that's wired to explode all the time?
You just have to press this button.
Yeah, I love that he's engineering it. And they're like, all right, we're going to do this. And he's like screwing in all the cables and making connecting everything. I love that bit. Yeah, killing Bumblebee would hurt. That would hurt a lot. Would I save? I would save Wheeljack. I think I love me some Wheeljack. That one hurts. And if I could kill anybody, Powerglide, easy. I always hated Powerglide. He's annoying. So annoying. All right, so share your thoughts with us on this awesome, awesome movie. Hit us up on the comments or on Twitter, and if you haven't seen it, check it out and let us know what you thought. Sorry for spoiling everything for you, though. As always, we'll post links and examples to everything we talk about on letmeknowhowitis.com. Just please remember to find us, like us, and follow us on social media. Thanks for listening, and we will see you next time.